Don't you know Western Hotel belonged to the KAA? But up to now, we don't know. The issue is in limbo. Has he compensated Kenya Airports Authority? The answer is no. We are not aware. We've not been told. This is a man, he can come here and take here if it was appropriate, but this is too tiny for him.
Don't you think you're unfair to the president because he supported Raila for AUC? Don't you think you are being unfair there?
He was trying to get rid of him from the scene.
Come on.
But he did it poorly. Because you see, Jadiel.
No, I think you're being unfair.
No. You see, even that fanfare, going with almost 100 people to Addis Ababa, the other guy who came with only 4 people. And when I said in one of the shows, they condemned me, how can a road be given? There was a title, fake title, which was taken to a certain bank, trust bank. And money was taken out in collusion with the directors of the bank, shared, and William got part of the loot. And I said, why doesn't he take me to court? Is he taking us by bus, by plane? Or is he taking us just through his imagination? And he thinks we'll get to Singapore. You see, there is what we call the value chain in any process. He must assist us understand what is the process that will get to Singapore. When there is a lot of pilferage, a lot of theft, a lot of wastage of resources, and a lot of borrowing. And he told them, let's go swim. Let's go to the high seas for a cruise. He came back alone.
And when you say he came back alone, you mean?
Well, the other guys were ejected into the deep sea, and none swam back.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to my platform where we talk about political ideologies, what can change this country. We did very well in our past 2 videos and I'm very grateful that you have subscribed to this platform. If you haven't, you can subscribe, click the notification bell so that once a video pops up, it can come to your notification panel, or you can see it on the homepage of your YouTube. If you're not sure whether you're subscribed or not, you can counter check. Just go to youtube.com and you can check Jadiel Kabiro and subscribe from there. I've had a lot of political conversations over the past 3-4 years on matters governance, politics, leadership, and I'm very interested in the person I'm seated with today. Why? He probably would have been one of the most powerful people in this country because he helped in forming UDA, the ruling party now, but he left even before the president became the president. I'm here with him. We're going to talk about why he left and how we can fix the mess that we have in this country. We've always been talking about we need better leadership, we need better leadership, we need better leadership. But how do we do that? That is my conversation today with the one and only Honorable Kipruto Arap Kirwa, AGH, who was a former minister. He led Charangani for a while as an MP, and he's here with me. Great to see you. How are you doing today?
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm happy that we've been able to meet again.
Yeah.
In a new setup that you've already instituted. I'm happy because this country is going through a lot of turbulence, but also we are aware that Kenyans are very resilient. They are likely to come out of it better than when they got into it. But allow me also to send my condolences to one friend that passed on this morning, Cyrus Jirongo. Cyrus Jirongo, we've known each other for the last 47 years because he joined Form 1, Mangu High School, 1978 when I was in Form 2. And we hit it that way and became a member of my junior debating club, which I handed over to him as a chairman.
Oh.
And we worked together. Well, I did not join YK in 1992 because it was a preserve of those who are not going to run for office. And I was already a sitting member of parliament. But later on, we managed to work together, him as a member of parliament and myself as assistant minister. Subsequently, I was sacked and was promoted to the position of Minister for Rural Development in the Ministry of Agriculture by the late President Daniel Arap Moi. He's a man of courage, somebody that I admire in the sense that he dared where some of us were hesitant to get into, including the issue of revitalizing the youth in the run-up to 1992, to support and re-engineer the winning by President Jadiel Arap Kirwa. So my condolences to the family and friends.
What is that one thing you'd say you've learned from Jirongo? I remember when there's a time the president was still deputy president, and he said kuna watu wanamsikilia wivu for where he is, and now he's the president. But Jirongo was, you know, he told Kenyans not to vote for this government. I don't want to go there, but really, what is that one thing you've said is a man of courage, that you remember Jirongo and you say Kenyans can emulate something from him?
There's a lot. He was very ingenious in the sense that even in the business industry, there is a story he told us once that he did not have money. He needed 1 million shillings. In those days, 1 million shillings was a lot of money. Because remember, when I was first elected in 1989, my salary as a sitting member of parliament was 18,000. So he needed 1 million shillings. He went to the late Jovo Mino. And the Jovo Mino listened to the story, the conversation, and he said, I will give you the money. You are either a conman or you are so intelligent. That is some of the things that we remember him as a friend and as somebody very courageous. He dared where some of us would be hesitant to get engaged in. Well, I don't want to say I think average, but I don't think as big as he was. You could talk of figures that were mind-boggling. And I realized he was able to achieve in very few years in life. He was able to achieve what has taken us more than 60 years.
That's what you call daring.
Very daring.
Well, my RIP Jirongo, of course, he did his service to country. My conversation with you today is about political ideology. This platform is on ideology. I don't like the way people talk about personalities and political events. They don't help, really. We need to have a longer vision. We need to talk about things that actually matter, na watu wakuwe na pesa mfukoni. The conversation that comes up, especially in about the opposition, is what is the opposition pushing for? Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, and the rest, even Fred Matiang'i, what are they pushing for ideologically? The president has said, watu wana agenda, wanasema tu one term. They don't know anything else but one term. Do you think it's time for the opposition to come up with something that is ideological as they are pushing for their flag bearer, as they're looking for power to outroot?
Well, my understanding of leadership is the capacity to identify a talent and the wisdom to appreciate it, and also the humility with which you can approach every issue, allowing people to thrive according to their talent. I say so because our main issue today, which is actually basic ideological difference between us and the current regime, is that we believe in allowing systems to operate. Because when you allow systems, people and machines to operate, you get the best from them. But when you micromanage them, then you stifle innovation, genuine thinking, and approach to every issue that needs a solution from the government. So our point of departure with the current regime is that should one of us get to that position of the president, he should operate as a team leader, not as the de facto, the only leader in that particular arrangement. That's why we've insisted that we are not looking for one person to steer the ship. We are looking for a team of leaders who appreciate that there is talent in government and there is talent outside government, and also responsibly approach the people of this country by ensuring whatever you do within the framework of the law, the constitution, and various laws and regulations that are there in place and others to be created. That is our thinking, that what we are suffering from is one man show.
That is something interesting. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about it that way.
Yes.
Is that how you plan the opposition to be?
That is what we plan, and we've done a document that we'll be rolling out perhaps in January on the guidelines on how to approach the next election and how to deal with issues of governance. because we strongly believe it does not take a magician to run this country. It takes somebody who realizes that, yes, I have limitations as an individual, but collectively, we should have a shared vision.
Oh.
That's why we are very critical when the president wants to take us to Singapore without the requisite route that needs to be defined. Is he taking us by bus, by plane, or is he taking us just through his imagination and he thinks we'll get to Singapore? You see, there is what we call the value chain in any process. He must assist us understand what is the process that will get to Singapore. When there is a lot of pilferage, a lot of theft, a lot of wastage of resources, and a lot of borrowing that is gobbling the little resources we are supposed to be getting, to the extent that for every 100 shillings we raise through taxes, 90 shillings will go back to repay the debt and the arrears that have risen. Therefore, we are only left with 10 shillings. That's why we keep on borrowing on top of the other, to the extent that we borrow 1.25 trillion every year since he took over office of the president in the year 2022.
Why do you think he's now talking more about Singapore than bottom-up? Has it changed?
The issue is that when he was talking about bottom-up, he was creating the narrative that there are two sets of Kenyans. Those who are dynasties and those who are hustlers. And therefore, he wanted to set himself against the previous regimes so that the Kenyatta family, the Raila family, the Moi family, of course, he spared Kibaki. But of course, you've seen some of his lieutenants from time to time almost comparing himself with Kibaki, which is really an overstretch.
The president has said he has the knowledge of, I think, Kibaki. He has the understanding of, I think, Moi or what.
Yes, the courage of Kenyatta.
The courage of Kenyatta.
One.
Yes.
And he has a shared plan with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Do you believe in that?
Well, that is what we call celeb aggrandizement. Yeah. He thinks in some kind of utopia, because it is easy to say than to do. So this issue of Singapore is just another narrative, because you see, human mind deals with issues of distance and space. So he wants to take us to Singapore. In between, we dribble the ball. He dribbles the ball and he wants to win the next election. After the next election, you will never hear about Singapore again. Where is the Hustler Fund? He's not talking about it anymore. What happened to it?
Is it helpful, what he's doing with the narratives, as you call them? Is it helpful for him, and is it helpful for us?
I wish it was more practical. You see, government decisions and policies are put on paper. When you talk of Vision 2030 by President Kibaki, he knew he will not be president up to 2030. He has since passed on, as you know. But the vision is still there. Many of these highways, they were done during that particular time. I was a member of the National Social and Economic Council, coming from the sector of agriculture. Raila was coming from the sector of roads, and many other individuals, including the Honorable Kiraitu, the Honorable Karua, the Honorable Ndwiga, coming from the cooperative sector. So the issue was, collectively, we had to process those ideas. We had people like the late Professor Kalestas Juma from Busia. He was coming from Harvard University. So we had a number of retreats, and we agreed this is a shared vision for the country. But the vision the president is giving us, I don't know where he has processed. It was actually, that was beyond cabinet. It was we in the government, processed in the cabinet. Then we took it to the public, and we got professionals from all aspects of life. Those from engineering, those from social sciences, those from leadership backgrounds, and therefore we processed taking care of every subsector so that the economy can grow as one.
Okay.
So you should be able to tell us what is informing that particular vision. Can't we share that vision with the rest of us?
So
In his absence.
What do you think he does when he comes up with this, what you call narratives? What do you think informs what he comes up with?
Self-serving interest. It's just a selfish interest because he wants to win the next election. If it was not the case, you would not have given Raila a state funeral. You would not have renamed this Talanta Stadium Raila Odinga International Stadium.
You don't think he's doing that for Raila?
No, he's not doing it for Raila. Why give him CGH when he's dead? Why didn't you give it to him when they did the handshake? Or even earlier? Because if he recognized Raila as a very senior citizen who needed that kind of recognition. Don't come to my funeral and start praising me and paying for the coffin when you've not been giving me food to eat or giving me space as a leader. Then when I die, you come and you donate and you dance more than the bereaved.
I want us to talk about ideology, but don't you think you're unfair to the president because he supported Raila for AUC? Don't you think you are being unfair there?
He was trying to get rid of him from the scene.
Come on.
But he did it poorly. Because you see, Jadiel.
No, I think we're being unfair.
No. You see, even that fanfare, going with almost 100 people to Addis Ababa, the other guy who won came with only 4 people. Himself, the bodyguard, the president, and the wife. And his own wife, Mahmoud. Ali Mahmoud, somebody I know very well. So, 4 people. And they won. And the issue is, let us also think about diplomacy. Diplomacy, all these missions in the world, they are meant to represent their countries. And in Africa, we have so many ambassadors, all the way from Nigeria to Tanzania, South Africa to Egypt, Addis Ababa itself, we have an ambassador there. We should have been able to get the feedback without making a little sound that we are launching Raila here. The other guy was never launched, but he did acquire diplomacy, and he was able to understand there are 4 basic things in Africa. The issue of religion, the issue of the language, because they are Francophone, Lusophone, and Anglophone, which we belong to. The Francophone, they are likely to vote together. Those who are Muslims, they are likely to gravitate towards each other. We made a mistake by identifying with Israel against Hamas. We made a mistake by appreciating Morocco and castigating Polisario. That was a mistake made by the president. We are dealing with rebels in Sudan. We are dealing with rebels in DRC. DRC is not happy with us.
So what are you saying basically? Are you saying that our president
was just doing it for a show? We knew actually that Raila may fail to win, but he wanted the constituencies that Raila, that are supported Raila up to that particular time to feel that this is their partner.
So now that you're saying he's riding on Raila basically, will it be impactful to his campaigns?
Well, time will tell. Of course, he's going to sway a number of people, but there are people who are hardliners. There is a lot of boiling that is taking place now in ODM. And we do not know the school of thought of Edwin Sifuna, people like Caleb Amisi from Trans Nzoia, people like Ibagendi from Kisii, people like Babu Wino. Those are very serious personalities that they are likely to determine the direction ODM is going to pursue in the next 2 years.
Sorry, we've digressed. We're talking about the opposition, but I've got a little bit interested in other things.
Still part of the opposition.
To the opposition now. You said it's a team, and you're looking for structures and systems to work, mechanisms to work. You just need a leader, and everyone will be leaders in their own right, in their own departments. How easy is it to fix the mess once you say that? Because there are some who believe we need more of a benevolent dictator. We need someone who is ready to tackle things, take the bulls by the horns, as they say. How easy is it to deal with the mess that we have in the country once we have just someone who's letting people work? I'm sorry to downplay it, but it seems that way.
Well, you know, that's the best way, because you see, we have very well-trained public servants in every ministry. When I was in the Ministry of Agriculture, I had a total of 90 PhD holders in various departments and government positions. PhD in their area of training, whether it is in research, whether it is in crop production, whether it is in animal husbandry, and all other aspects of study. And some of them, they had very high credentials in terms of management. So what one needs to do is to release that workforce from in every ministry and have some clear reporting structures and allow them to use the best of their energy. Because I remember the late President Ronald Reagan, when he made a speech in one of the interesting moments, he made a sentence, a statement such as, I've come to realize that when you give the latitude of freedom to people who are well trained and they know what they are doing, they give you better results and they exceed your expectation. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that whoever is going to take over this country must of necessity realize that we are public servants. We don't need even some of the advisors that the president has been surrounding himself with. In every ministry, there are good people, men and women, with the necessary capacity to perform. What they need is to be given latitude of freedom and self-interest removed from decisions that are made by government.
Is it me, or are we looking at a government where people, yes, have credentials, but they are not working? Do you believe it's the president's fault? Because from what you've just said, it is very convincing to me that people have learned, people have been working, they can do their job. Why aren't they doing it now?
Because there's a lot of interference from the center. You remember, what we have now is a kind of mongrel of a government where we do not know where the opposition is and where the government is, or where the minority is and where the majority are. The issue is simple. The president started emasculating parliament and made it a toothless bulldog, threatened the judiciary, interfered with other constitutional offices, including the Public Service Commission, and Judicial Service Commission, such that decisions that are taken there is just a confirmation of what has happened to the office of the president. Some of the ministers who, by law and by regulation, ought to be appoint directors, find themselves being confronted one morning on Friday that so-and-so is a director in your ministry. You are forced to look for the person to know who has been appointed for me in my ministry. You see, that usurps the power of a minister or what we call now CS, and it makes the person very indecisive because he knows if I make a decision to the contrary of some of the people who have been appointed by the office of the president, that message will go back to the president. You've heard him, and this is not me. It was on live coverage. They're saying that he knows more about various departments than the heads of those departments.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, but how can you know everything? You know, we are trained in different fields. For me, I've done governance, diplomacy, and basic engineering. Yeah. So I cannot pretend that I know everything about everything. Even when I was in the ministry, I was relying on the officers, asking relevant questions to get answers. And once we get answers, we now have a shared vision with the officers in the ministry.
How did you interpret that? I know more about ministries than the ministers.
No, it is micromanagement. You see, that is basic micromanagement. You cannot pretend, even at home, the budget for the kitchen, you leave to your wife. You don't even know. Otherwise, if you say, I know the kitchen better than my wife, it means you go there counting eggs. How many do we buy? How many have we eaten? How many are still, what is the balance? You know, you don't do that.
I know people do that.
Some people do that, but they lose their wives. You know, I know of a guy, a friend of mine,
yes.
David something. If I was to say the next name,
will know.
He will know that he's the one.
David.
He's now staying with the 9th wife. And the style he was using is that when he goes to work, he brings unga, then in some kind of container, shakes it, and puts his fingerprints. And he has to find it the same way when he comes back in the evening. He's staying with the 9th wife.
Come on,
he's
that's
now a retired person.
Someone does that.
Yeah.
9th wife.
9th wife. That is micromanagement at worst.
And now, what you're saying is that we have a president who's micromanaging.
Yeah, he's a micromanager. He does not believe in shared vision. Even this vision of Singapore, where did they sit down and say this is the way we want Kenya to go to Singapore? Singapore, you know, many people were killed because the guy did not want corruption.
Yeah.
So many people, I'm told, he went to this high seas with a number of guys, very senior people or his close friends. He came back alone. And he told them, let's go swim. Let's go to the high seas for a cruise. He came back alone.
And when you say he came back alone, you mean?
Well, the other guys were ejected into the deep sea. And none swam back. It takes that. And it takes also somebody with less appetite for what does not belong to him.
Is opposition ready for that? Not necessarily killing. Now we have human rights. but are we ready for that? Where you look at Honorable Kirwa, or you look at, because you're here, let me just mention you, and you say, if you're corrupt, we are outing you, we are putting you in jail.
Yes, that should be the case. And as we should learn to tighten our belt. What does not belong to us, let us not take it to our homes. Yeah.
Why isn't it selling now on the ground? What you're saying here is very interesting.
Yes.
I know there's politics and there's governance.
Yes.
Do you play politics in campaigning and then you lead? Or are we going to see the opposition now talking about what you're talking about more often?
In fact, we have to encourage each and every person. Personally, I will disagree with anybody who goes that route. And for me, I walked away from Moi. I walked away from Ruto because I do not believe that is the direction that we are going to go.
Why did you walk away from Ruto? Because I would assume, I said that earlier, right now you probably would have had a very powerful position.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but I usually ask people, you do not ask me, why did I go to Ruto? Why did I work with him for 2 years? I believed he was under siege. And I believed he had now matured. And for the 2 years, we used to have a meeting every Tuesday afternoon. We have lunch. Then we have a meeting with a small political bureau led by Johnson Mudama. And I was a member. The Honorable Boni Halwale was a member. The Honorable Tuwale, although he hardly attended. The Honorable Rigathi was a member. Murkomen. Who else? Hassan Omar. Who else? Hassan Omar. And a few other people. Chichir, the current minister, and also the current PS Foreign Affairs, Singoe, Korir, who were members of a team of about 11 to 13 people. So we used to meet every Tuesday, we process, then we take the report to him, how the week was, and some of the critical points that he needed to engage in. And we did very well, and he was perceptive, and at times when he did not agree with us, he would also have counter-arguments, which were very intelligent. But towards the end, I realized that I don't belong to this club. Partly for the reason that the things that I was seeing, I was reading now a bit of intolerance and also a bit of gatekeeping.
Now this is behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes by some of the individuals, such that certain decisions are taken and the things move and you ask yourself, we had agreed this is the direction we are going. Why are we going in a different direction? For example, we worked on a project to diversify the top leadership by including Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. There was a team working on the Wetangula side. I was on the Musalia side. Until the two came in and we started working together. But they came in and they wanted to put them in another compartment, not on a common understanding.
Oh.
Yes.
So you read malice.
I read malice. Then on the other side, I saw a number of my colleagues. You realize in Azimio, many of them were my former colleagues, except whoever did not move to Azimio was the former minister, Jero Ndwiga. Otherwise, the Kibaki one team, all of us were in Azimio. Then Azimio made it even more attractive by appointing as running mate Mheshimiwa Martha Karua.
Yes.
I say this is the other, I belong there. I don't belong here.
So
that's the decision I made.
So you got to a place where you were ideologically convinced that the president will not take the country to the right place from behind the scenes.
Yes.
And you decided to move.
I decided to move. I said, okay, he may win or he may not win. It never mattered to me. Even up to now, I don't regret anything that I made. Any decision that I made. Even if he wins the next election, I will not be part of his government. In reality or even in thought, I'm still happy to be where I am. If we win, it's okay. If we don't win, still no more, as long as there's no violence.
Now, I was talking about now ideology versus politics. What is your current position or thinking about the politics that are there? Who's going to be the presidential flag bearer? There are talks that Gachagua is going to get 50% of government. Kalonzo dismissed the thing about Nairobi seats going to Gachagua when it comes to coalition building. How do you manage this? You help form UDA now you are in the opposition. How do you manage convincing Kenyans that we are the right people playing politics and selling to my audience the ideology that they need?
Well, it is very interesting. There are two issues that we should disabuse ourselves on. When Gachagua talked of DCP having a share in Nairobi, it was not informed by the fact that it is going to be a Kikuyu government in Nairobi. DCP is a party that has been seen to grow beyond the boundaries of Mount Kenya. The other day they got 8,700 votes in Magarini. They got a seat in Narok. They got another seat in Kakamega, where they got about 3,000, more than 3,000 votes. And the UDA in that particular ward, Kisa East, got 61 votes. Now, it is telling you that DCP is not, it is associated with Gachagua, but it may grow beyond Gachagua. And therefore, when he was talking about that, it is one way of saying, telling those who believe in him that you have a chance here in Nairobi and other places. But the most important thing on that particular issue is that we are grafting a matrix of permutations that will allow us to identify which is the most popular party, let's say in Embakasi East, and which is the most popular candidate, so that we marry the party and the candidate in a way that if in that area, Wiper is the most popular party, and you are in DCP and you are the most popular candidate, we can say cross over to Wiper, so that we get Wiper supporters and we also get your supporters. In that way, we are likely to win Nairobi seats. That is my understanding of what the Honorable Gachagua meant by that.
It's not Kikuyu, it is DCP.
It's DCP, and DCP is beyond Kikuyu. It's a national party.
Okay.
Yes. The second issue that we need to engage in terms of
politics
versus ideology.
Yes.
Is the fact that we must play politics first. For us to get to capture the office. But our paradigm is different. We have said we are just looking for a team of people who will perform together. And when we perform together, the leader should realize he's not the only man in the room or woman in the room. He's just one among equals that has been given the honor of being our president. Otherwise, if it was that all of us want to be president, then we lose the script, and we allow the current regime to continue.
Which is the best route? Jimmy talks about economy. Maraga talks about constitutionalism. I think same with Omtata. And then there is what you have just talked about in the opposition. Are you wooing or are you looking to partner with Jimmy and the rest so that you realize that one-term dream?
We are more than willing to embrace as many Kenyans as possible. And people like Jimmy has been part of our outfit, but of late I have not seen him. Somebody like Okiya Omtata, we are still consulting, and I'm sure when the moment comes, we are likely to be together. Remember, in the run-up to 2002 elections, we had two main forces, or call it three, because there was KANU itself, which was the ruling party, in coalition with NDP, and of course, the NDP group moved out of KANU as LDP towards October, when what the late Kamodo called Kasarani became Kisirani.
Yeah.
Then in September 18th, 2002, we unveiled a team comprising the late Kibaki, the Honorable Ngilu, and the late Wamalwa Kijana, where Kibaki was presidential candidate, Wamalwa was to be running mate, or to be vice president designate, because running mate was not provided for in the constitution. And Charity was to be our prime minister. We unveiled at Ufungamano 18th of September. And we were ready and willing to go until it dawned upon all of us that we need to have this thing in round one, so that KANU candidate, the immediate former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, does not have a chance to win.
Yeah.
That's how we came together with the LDP to form the National Rainbow Coalition. And it was at that particular moment. Remember, 18th of September is about 3 months to the election. Then in October, I think it was about 22nd of October, that's when we signed the MOU and formed the summit, where 4 came from LDP and 4 came from NAK.
Yeah.
That is how coalition is done. You cannot dismiss anybody. As long as they are talking the language of one term, everybody should put their hands on the deck. But the issue is that let us not rush. Or rather, we consolidate in one corner, they consolidate in another corner. Even for some of us, we're imagining we need to get people from ODM so that we get into this grand coalition that will take us across the board.
Do you think ODM will partner with you?
There are a number of individuals in ODM, and if they are able to convince the rest and ODM comes our way, we have no quarrel about ODM.
Maybe finally on this issue on politics, we saw Gachagua attacking, let me not just call it attacking, but he hinted to Matiang'i about politicking in boardrooms. And it seemed off, because if someone is saying one term, why would you do that publicly? Is there a beef? And do you think Matiang'i and Gachagua can work together?
Well, I come from Trans Nzoia, and in Trans Nzoia, we weed for the maize before the herbicides came. And when we are weeding, and you have many people, jembe itagongana, and it's normal for any process, because we are not unanimous in terms of our thinking process. But for me, I'm confident that Matiang'i, Gachagua, and the rest will work together. That's the only way we can make sure we do not go for round 2. If we allow William Ruto to have a chance of going for round 2, he will mess the country. We have to do it in round 1. And every vote counts. Remember, in terms of the constitution, it is 50% plus 1 vote. So the 4 of us here can decide who becomes president or who goes home. Because our 4 votes, the rest may be 50-50. But the 4 of us, if we are together and we vote in one direction, that is where the president will come from.
From what you're saying, it seems like the president has a chance of getting back.
I don't like dismissing somebody, because I usually say don't underrate a political player. You can write his obituary when you are at the graveside. You are burying him. Then you write obituary, this is what he did, and now it may shear up. But any political player, you don't underrate. You know, that would be a very big mistake if we were to underrate a sitting president. For me, we have to evict him. And to evict a sitting president, we must be strategic and be all-inclusive.
So what do you think about the guys that say Ruto is gone, he's not coming back?
Well, I may agree with them, but you see, there must be some work. We have to sweat. You don't expect that it's going to be easy. He's also going to fight back.
What is the play with Gen Z in the opposition?
As in the opposition, Gen Z will be integral part. We don't want to tell them the story. We want them to tell us their story.
But I'm hearing from reports they're not registering to vote. So,
No.
so yes, you'll help them, but will they put you in government?
No, the issue is simple. You know, this is not mass registration. And I've gotten credible information from some of the mothers and fathers of Gen Z that so-and-so went, they waited, the queue was long, but because they had to do something else, they left. When mass registration will start, they will be almost at every critical point. And that is when the Gen Z perhaps will register more than they are today. I think they are convinced that their vote counts. And we are also convinced that this country belongs to them more than it belongs to people of my age. That is the way I look at it, and I don't want to demean their presence.
Why do you think they're so pissed with this government? Because I know Uhuru talked about it some time back, and he said, these young people, they don't know about our history, they don't know, we need to convince them, or they'll bring chaos later. Why do you think it's this government, or is it a change in times globally?
I don't want to give the global dimension. I just want to agree that GNC are slightly more informed than some of us. They were born and brought up at the time where technology, space had expanded so much that there is information even my grandchildren know that I don't know, even how to operate this phone. And therefore, they understand there are good practices elsewhere, which we are not practicing in Kenya. And some of the players in the room have been weak in making the right decision to realize that GNC were not saying we want to get into political office. They were saying we want to governance, we want transparency, we want inclusivity, we want honest from the leadership, we want a leadership that we can trust. So what they were fighting were more of issues of chapter 6 than issues of normal politics. And something that came out so well is that they were not aligned tribally. You realize there were even some Kalenjins who had abducted and killed. There were Kikuyus, there were Luos, from all these communities.
True.
So that tells you that this is a team that if they are properly prepared, they can become better leaders. They belong almost to the same generation as our first generation at independence. Where somebody like Mboya was running in Nairobi, the late Wafula Wabuge was running in Nakuru as a member of parliament. John Keane came to Trans Nzoia to run for member of parliament on behalf of Kanu. And there were no Maasais in Trans Nzoia, there were no Kikuyus in Trans Nzoia. There were still very few. So we need to open up this space and allow our children to realize that they belong to Kenya and they are part and parcel of the global community coming from the continent of Africa.
Finally, it is crazy what you talked about earlier. 100 shillings we collect, 90 shillings goes
to retire the debt and arrears.
And honestly, if you think about it, we cannot fix this country if that is the case. Have you thought about how to deal with that?
A number of suggestions that we have. One is to reduce pilferage, wastage, and theft. To begin with, without even thinking of collecting more. If whatever we collect was properly utilized, that is what we call prudent management of resources, we would be able to solve this problem in a number of years. Not 1 year, not 2 years, perhaps in 5 years.
I was talking to Willis and he told me they might actually prosecute Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto for debt. They are saying there's a lot of wastage, money was taken, it wasn't taken to the right place, it wasn't well utilized, who approved and all that. What is your thinking on that? If God graces you with power.
There's a due process, which I strongly believe must be respected. Because if we become a rule of the jungle, then we are likely to go back to the current situation of William Ruto, who makes decisions without processing. We need to see the audit reports and confirm that certain amount of money, whether it was Eurobond or any other bond, left New York, came to our treasury, or went into somebody's pocket. Whether it was Italy, whether it is Kimarer, let it be a product of auditing process that we know we can take somebody to court. But I cannot prosecute anybody now.
Is that something that you're thinking about, auditing the debt?
Auditing the debt, because we feel the debt is not what is reflected in the books. And you realize the president wanted to appoint a team to deal with a debt audit.
Yes.
And yet he has a two constitutional officers, Director of Budget and Controller. So why doesn't he believe in those officers and prosecute the issues according to the books?
Is it as easy as you say? Even there was talks about state capture. There was a lot of issues that were promised. Is it as easy? We were just talking before we started about bureaucracy and fixing things and, going to work in government. But then when I talk to politicians, they make me think it's easy, but then when you're in power, it's not.
No, unless you are part and parcel of the corruption team, not anti-corruption, of the corruption team, anything is easy to fix. It may not take 1 month. It may not take 100 days. But the process must start as soon as you get into the office, so that anybody stealing knows that he's on his own. And anybody who has stolen knows that he's on his own. Remember, when we took over in 2003, William Ruto, the same William Ruto who is the president, brought the titles that he had taken of procession away. The new way now from State House to Serena. I don't know when he passes there. How does he feel? He took them back to Ministry of Lands with his lawyer, Stephen Kibunja. And when I said in one of the shows, they condemned me. Oh, how can a road be given? There was a title, fake title, which was taken to a certain bank, trust bank. And money was taken out in collusion with the directors of the bank, shared, and William got part of the loot. And I said, why doesn't he take me to court?
What was the thinking behind that? How can you take a road? What do you think about the president's personality? What was that?
Well, he's a very interesting person. For him, he does not believe in systems. And anything goes. Don't you know Western Hotel belonged to the KAA? But up to now, we don't know. The issue is in limbo. Has he compensated Kenya Airports Authority? The answer is no. We are not aware. We've not been told. This is a man, he can come here and take here if it was appropriate, but this is too tiny for him. That is him. It's actually at times, I don't want to blame the president. I want to blame Kenyans.
We have allowed this.
You refuse to see this man. Even when I told you about procession away, there are so many people who insulted me in the social media. But I don't know what they are saying now, that they have confirmed procession away, fake titles were issued, money was taken from Trust Bank, and it was given to William Ruto. That information is there. Trust Bank eventually collapsed because one of the directors was colluding with some of these fake titles to take money from his co-directors.
How can one person do that?
He has
and
done
he's still
it.
the president.
He has done it about the land that belonged to Kenya Pipeline. He got 292 million, ostensibly on behalf of Kanu. And whoever he shared with, I don't know. And the place, they realized it was part of Ngong Forest. But Kenya Pipeline paid 292 million. These are facts. And yet Kenyans, for some strange reason, they seem to be forgetting. Or they themselves seem to like, I think at times they think corruption is an ingenious way of making wealth. Yeah.
So it's a Kenyan problem.
We've become that way. Some time back, and this is personal story, a young man came and told me, assist me with 15,000. What do you want to do with it? He says, I want to buy maize and sell, then nifanye corruption kidogo, alafu nikurudishie. You know, I laughed. Why? I realized psychologically the word corruption has acquired another meaning in Kenya. Corruption is a very ingenious way.
Kidogo, hapa
pale. So I said, okay. I gave him the money and I told him don't return because he allowed me to think deep about the word corruption.
So how do we, I know I said finally, but I usually have a lot of finalies, but how do we deal with this corruption?
That's why I said we need social reengineering. We lean to re-engineer society, to rewire it anew, to make sure that corruption affects you, affects me, affects our children and the future of our grandchildren. Simple.
Finally. Personalities, people like it. Is Kalonzo the president to be?
Well, if the team chooses him...
No, come on, we are just the two of us.
No. I don't know. If the team chooses him, what I know,
yes,
I've worked with him. We were ministers together. We were in the summit together. I trust him as a person. And I know he does not have appetite for what does not belong to him. You know that
you know.
Yeah, that I know. That I can say. That's why you've not heard of many things that Kalonzo took away this, took away that.
Is he a threat? Is this why government in Amtaka? They are looking for him. They want him to join him.
To join
the government.
Well,
to be part of Ruto's...
I've not talked to him of late. I think I'll talk to him next week. Yeah. I don't think that's well, that may be a story they are passing around.
Yeah, they're actually saying even if they're attacking, they don't attack Kalonzo. They really want Kalonzo to be on their side.
They also don't attack me because they know I'm too minute.
Because you have a lot of secrets. I know you can just say one thing and it runs the whole week. Thank you for tuning into that conversation with the Honorable Kipruto Arap Kirwa. He's doing a lot for this country through this conversation. He actually believes that we can do better as a country. And you can just feel from his emotion that he's actually angry with us. Usitupige sana because we still elect the same people. And I hope this platform can convince other people that we can do better. Thanks for tuning into this conversation. Thank you so much for gracing my platform.
Thank you.
I'm really, truly grateful. And this is something
Let's be doing it every week.
We can do this every week.
Every week.
We can pass by every week.
Yeah. This is your home.
Asante sana. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Wacha nikunywe uji ya mheshimiwa.
Na si ile ingine.
Ni ile ingine, ni ile.